So now that we've covered how to use nutrition to manipulate and control your insulin and thus controlling how much fat your body is storing, let's talk about the other modality to losing weight, which is exercise. So if, in terms of directly comparing exercise to nutrition, if nutrition's importance was way up here and exercise is down here somewhere, there's two forms of exercising you can do to manipulate how your body uses the fat, and that is doing cardio and doing some kind of resistance or weight training. So if we're comparing the two, if we're comparing weight training to cardio and its importance, then weight training is way up here, cardio is down here somewhere. They both can be useful, they both can be used to rid your body of fat, but weight training is way up here, cardio is down here somewhere. The reason building and maintaining muscle is so much more important than cardio is because in order for your body to build and maintain muscle, it needs to burn energy, burn fat in order to do that. The more muscle you have, the more calories and the more energy your body has to burn in order to maintain that muscle. And when it comes to maintaining muscle, we're talking about your metabolic rate while you're at rest, your resting metabolic rate. So even when you're not moving, even when you're not exercising, your body needs to burn calories and burn fats in order to provide energy to your muscle to maintain its density, even though it's not currently working. And the more muscle you have, the more calories and fat that needs to be burned in order to maintain that muscle. And so the more muscle you have, the higher your resting metabolic rate will be all throughout the day, even though you're not necessarily working out. And when I say building muscle, I'm not necessarily talking about putting on muscle mass and muscle size. A lot of women have this misconception that they want to stay away from weight training and resistance training because they don't want to put on muscle, because they don't want to look muscular and thus masculine. The reason that's a misconception is because even the most genetically gifted man who's trying to build muscle mass, doing so is very difficult for him. Building big, huge muscles is very difficult. Even for the most genetically gifted man on the planet, that's very hard to do. And so women being afraid to lift weights because they are afraid they're going to put on all this muscle and they're going to look masculine is a huge misconception, right? When I'm talking about building muscle and maintaining it, I'm not talking about building muscle size. I'm talking about building muscle strength and building muscle density. That's what your body is going to use fat in order to build and maintain. And without going into too much detail of like what exercises to do or what body parts to work on, I will give you a general idea and say that the biggest muscle groups in your body are the muscle groups that you're going to want to train and strengthen. The biggest muscle in your body is your gluteus maximus, so you're going to want to train that, get strength there, build as much muscle density as possible there. Also the lats, that are in your back, that stretch from the top of your back down to your mid-abdominal. That's one of the biggest muscles in your body as well. You're going to want to work on that and strengthen that. And then the quadriceps in your legs are the next biggest. You're going to want to build on them, strengthen them as much as you can as well. And in terms of general exercises you can do to strengthen your muscles and strengthen your body and the muscles that I just alluded to, the easiest thing you can do is to do compound exercises, meaning you're training more than one body part at a time. One of the best ways to do this is to do Olympic style lifts, such as the Olympic clean and jerk and the Olympic snatch. Go ahead and Google those and figure out how to do them properly and give them a shot. They're great compound exercises that really work to strengthen your muscles. Also, general compound movements such as squats and deadlifts and lunges Those are great movements that are compound, that are going to work multiple muscle groups at a time and can build a lot of muscle in a short amount of time. Without going into specifics, like I said, remember that we're trying to make the muscle as strong as possible with as much muscle density as possible. The more strength and the more density we have in our muscles, the more we're going to demand of our body to burn fat in order to maintain and fuel those muscles. Now, in terms of cardio, we can use cardio to burn fat as well. It's just not nearly as effective as building muscle. Primarily because cardio is best used for increasing and maintaining cardiovascular health as well as lung capacity and lung endurance. It's not really meant for fat burning. Fat burning is sort of a convenient side effect of cardio, but it's not really meant for burning fat. For the sake of this discussion, we'll say there's two forms of cardio, right? There's low intensity, steady state cardio, like walking as fast as you can, or like jogging, where the intensity is low enough so that you're putting effort into it, but you're still able to have a full conversation while you're doing it. The great thing about that form of cardio is that while you're doing it, because it's at a lower intensity, while you're involved in that workout, in that cardio, you are directly burning fat. Your body is using fat stores to energize itself. So for the period of time while you're walking or jogging, as long as you're doing that, you're burning fat. You are taking fat cells and you are using them to power and energize your body. The problem is, as soon as you stop walking, as soon as you stop jogging, your body then stops using that form of fat to energize itself. It has no need for that energy anymore. So as soon as you stop walking, as soon as you stop jogging, or whatever low intensity, steady state stuff you're doing, as soon as you stop, so does the fat burning effects. When we talk about high intensity training though, high intensity cardio, whatever it may be, whether it's sprinting or cycling like as fast as you can, what makes it high intensity is that the effort that you're putting into it. So you're giving an energy effort that is at least 90% of your maximum effort. So the way we go about high intensity training or high intensity cardio, what that means is you're giving about 90% of your maximum effort. Let's say, for example, you're sprinting, right? So when you sprint about 90% as hard as you possibly can. So what we do is, say we sprint for 20 seconds, giving a 90% effort. You sprint for 20 seconds, then you rest for 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Let's just keep it even and say it's 20 seconds. So you sprint at a 90% effort for 20 seconds, and then you rest for 20 seconds, and then you sprint again for 20 seconds, and then you rest again for 20 seconds, and you keep repeating this over and over and over again. When you're doing this, the energy system that you're using to fuel your body is not fat-based. Your body can't burn fat that quickly in order to fuel such explosive bouts of high intensity training. So the system that it has to use, the fuel that it has to use to power and energize itself is carbohydrates, it's glucose. So when you're giving that 90% effort, your body is taking that energy from the stores of carbohydrates and glucose that it has. And by repeating that process over and over again of high intensity, then rest, then high intensity and rest, you do that for anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes. What you're doing by repeating that cycle over and over again is you are essentially tricking your body into thinking it's in an emergency. So your body adapts over time in that workout. It starts to learn that by jacking up the burning of glucose and then resting and bringing it back down, and then jacking it back up and resting and bringing it back down, burning fuel that way is inefficient. It's not a efficient way for your body to be fueling itself. So as you continue to repeat that process, what happens is your body slowly starts to increase its metabolic rate in order to stop the spiking effect, right? Because you're taking the intensity up and you're bringing it back down. That's the same thing that's happening with how your body is using glucose. Spiking its glucose usage when you're in the bout of high intensity, and then it's bringing it back down and taking it back up and bringing it back down. That's not efficient. And so in order to make your body more efficient and make it easier to deal with the spikes you're giving your body in this high intensity, it starts to raise your metabolic rate steadily. Then at the 10-minute mark or the 20-minute mark, whenever you happen to stop that workout and finish it, your body will have raised your metabolic rate to a point where because you have been in this cycle of high intensity and then rest and high intensity and rest, your body is not going to immediately turn off that metabolic rate and bring it back down, because you have tricked your body into thinking that there's danger nearby. And so in order to keep itself on its toes and stay efficient, it's going to continue to have your metabolic rate at a raised position, and then over the next few hours that metabolic rate will then start to dip and come back down until it gets back to its baseline. So the advantage of high intensity is that your body will continue to burn calories at a higher rate. Even after you finish the high intensity, it will continue to burn calories and use that energy for hours even after the workout is over with. The disadvantage of high intensity training is that because it's so demanding of your body and it's so demanding on your system, it's only advisable to do it about once or twice a week. Whereas steady state, low intensity cardio you can do for as long as you want every day. And because it's not demanding on your body and your joints and your endocrine system, you can do it every day without really damaging your body or your body's energy systems. In the end, comparing the two cardiovascular modalities to each other, basically in the end you get the same result, right? You're gonna burn fat, you're gonna burn calories, regardless of what kind of cardio you do. Again, cardio is more so for your heart and your lungs than it is for fat burning. But when we're talking specifically about how your body burns fat during and after cardio, the effect and the result is pretty much the same regardless if you do steady state, low intensity, or if you do high intensity stuff. So it's really up to you how you want to use the cardio, whether you want to do high intensity or low intensity. I advise doing both. Most days you do low intensity, and then once or twice a week you do high intensity stuff. And one last note on cardio in terms of training for fat loss. You also want to separate days that you do cardio and the days you do a resistance or weight training. You don't want to do both on the same day, or if you do, make sure you do them far apart. Okay, you don't want to do cardio right after you've lifted weights or vice versa, right? You want to keep them as separate as possible because they are two different energy systems in your body, and there is such a thing as cross training where you do sort of a combination of the two, and that's fine to do like once or twice a month, but do not do it on a regular basis. Keep cardio separate from weight training and keep resistance training separate from cardio. So that's my quick overview on how to lose weight as a streetball player. Again, I want to point out it's not really about losing weight. It's more specifically about getting rid of excess fat that you don't need while building and maintaining muscle. So think about it like this. You burn a pound of fat, which is great, but you also put on a pound of muscle, which is also great. In the end, you weigh the same as you did before, right? Because you took away a pound of fat and you put on a pound of muscle. So you weigh the same, except for now your body composition is much better. You have less excess fat and you have more muscle that now needs to be fueled and energized and maintained by your body. So it's not about losing weight, it's It's about getting rid of excess fat and building muscle. With that said, I want to thank you guys for watching. Like I said, I know there are a lot of subjects that I just went over that I kind of breezed past and I didn't go into much detail about, and you're probably going to have to do some research on your own to get more in depth about them. But like I said, let me know down in the comments about things that you want me to get more in depth on and more detail about. So let me know down in the comments what you guys want me to get more in depth about, and in the future I will make more in-depth videos on those individual subjects and topics. And so that you don't miss those future videos, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button so that you're notified when those future videos come out. And the biggest thing you guys can do for me is to share this channel, especially this video. Share this video. Again, this is not just about streetball. It's not just about basketball. Weight loss is a universal issue. Most people, whether they play basketball or not, whether they're athletes or not, most people want to lose weight. And the principles in this video are not just for basketball players. They can be used by anybody. So please share this video with those people. Get the word out that videos like this exist. Usually this channel is about the philosophy of streetball and how you can get better even though you're not quite as talented as other people. So go ahead and share this channel and these videos as much as you can, because we want to get as many people involved in this community as possible, because we want to spark discussions with each other, and the more we discuss our ideas, the more we can learn from each other. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.
Straight up now, tell me, do you really wanna love me forever?